So I'm on day 4, I think, of wiring this beast. Last night I got that in. Um, I'll show you what I did, and I think I've got a minor issue, solvable, but minor. And maybe if I don't go puddle hopping in it, I'll be fine. That's what Hyatt thought I'd lose, is the battery puddle hopping. I went and got my parts from town to try and make up for what that cheap Amazon thing didn't have with it. The Amazon harness cost me like another 30-40 bucks. So let me show you how I put this battery box in. So I ran bolts through here. That's how I patched those 3 holes. I think it is all right. Just bolted through a 3/8 bolt through, pulled it all tight. Then I'll seam seal it to keep water from getting back inside of there. I don't know why water would ever get up in there. And then I went through, I cut rubber and put on the bottom. I thought my battery would be bigger, so I did rubber in the corners, but it is not that big. So it won't slide, but I still need to figure out how to clamp it down. I told Hyatt I'll just put a ratchet strap in here. He said, no, don't do that, but on a budget build, what are you gonna do? Maybe I'll bend something that'll hold on up here with a bar across the top, rod coming up. I think there's something similar to that on my Toyota. So I'm going to finish the alternator up and then work some more on the column and getting that done. Okay, this was kind of bad. So I've got this, get this light so it's a little better. So where these are pigtailed here, these are my turn signal to my lights. I'm gonna get some little LEDs, drill them into my dash. Some of the Dolphin gauges I saw didn't have the turn signals. Even if they do, won't matter. I'll put in some cool little LEDs for that. But this goes my brake switch. I'm having to use this to just rub that back and forth and sand them down so it'll fit where that white wire is. I'll put in a diagram for how I landed these, because I tested it with my switch here to make sure I was getting continuity through that switch, which should theoretically make my brake lights turn on and off. So I'll work on getting that, and then I'll dress this up a bit and make it look nice, and move on to the next step of this menagerie. Okay, today I've been wiring like crazy. Hopefully I'm not making a big mistake, but I just wanted to see that some of my wires were in the right place. So I went through, I took every wire. As you can see, there's black tape on everything. It's just a big old freaking mess. This is my wire. It must Y somewhere because I don't remember. But this one says it's the ignition solenoid. This one here says alternator exciter, but those two are tied together. I'm going to get some 1/0 cable with a fusible link, and I'm going to take that 1/0 cable from here, and then I'll put a fusible link right here maybe, and then I'm going to come up and over to here with that, because this is a 120 amp alternator. I've still got to wrap my mind around how this supplying the fuse panel is supposed to carry 120 amps. I'm not entirely certain. I know how ampacities work, and this couldn't carry 150 amps if it was twice that size. But I'm getting it figured out. So I got my ground on, everything's taped again, and I'm gonna try and crank it over. There's a relay picking up in there. You can hear it. Not sure what that's about. So I got that. Now I'll come around, dodge the clip. Went through, did quite a bit of work. So that thing is clicking with the key off. But I turn it on. Yeah, buddy. I got some juice in there. So got that. Now I want to just do some verification on some of my power that I've got running and where. I went through on every single wire so I don't have to read it every time. That is my accessory wire that I thought I already attached that. I don't think so. If I've got power here on my switch, my headlight switch, I'll know that I've got my accessory in the right spot. But I don't know what to do with that wire. I got everything sanded down and inserted here. Still not too very happy with that. I'll make sure that my flasher's working by measuring voltage to my lights. I need to get my ground strap still, but we'll see. Everything's taped off. But that is what my wonderful wire mess looks like right now. And I wish I had a better seat, because that for a table sucks. And starting to kind of get it taped up, looking decent. This is the harness to that. Still got to get my brake switch in. I still haven't tightened that. I got to get that done. But that's awesome. She cranks. So I forgot one wire to tape off. That's my dome light. Luckily it didn't touch anything. So I went through, I did my turn signals to make sure that that thing was all touching and doing the right thing. I don't like how stiff that sounds going into a right turn. It's not bad left. Checked my hazards. I went through, checked my parking lights and my power there, my power to my dimmer switch. So I've got power to all the right places, I think. I might dig out from underneath here and get my fuel pump and see if when I turn that key on, if my fuel pump will start. So I'll check that out now. So that didn't work. Fuel pump, I tested it, and this darn light. Fetch. So I tested the fuel pump. It's a wire behind right there, but it didn't work. I turned the key on, and nobody home. So I took this wire and I touched it to my battery right there, which is the power to the headlight, just to see if this was indeed the accessory wire that I needed to put on my ignition. And once I touched that, this went hot. So I get to dig that back out of there, which should be fun. So I think get that fixed. I'm ready to wire up the fuel pump and start anchoring down wires. A bunch of this is gauge wire, and I don't have many gauges or much of anything, as you can tell. So I've got to try and figure out where I'm going to tuck all of that while I drive it without any gauges or anything. And maybe I'll just use my cell phone as a speedometer. But so far today, I'd say it's been a pretty positive thing. To hear it turn over, that's kind of cool for me to see that my wiring worked. Hopefully, the same thing happens out at work when we try and figure out if that system I'm putting together is functional. And just like this, hopefully all the smoke stays in. But thanks again for watching. Did make 500 subscribers. Pretty stoked about that. I will keep on wiring this week. I'm kind of excited now. Hopefully let me know on the flasher. I'm pretty sure that I need the accessories power to work to make the flasher work. My turn signal power was maintained at 12 volts. The flasher should drop it out and on. But I'll know once I hook that up, I think. If not, please educate me. Thank you. Have a great. Haha, it works.